Hey guys, Nutri's here. Today we are going to be doing my review of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So this might look like a different setting. I'm at my girlfriend's house, but I wanted to make sure that I get you guys this review in while it's still fresh on the dome. So with Xenoblade, this was my first playthrough of it. The game came out in 2010, I believe. And I knew about it for a while, mostly due to Smash, a little bit because of some friends who were maybe hyping it up, but it wasn't too big. Like Xenoblade was a big series, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't groundbreaking where like I heard about it everywhere, like Mario or Zelda. I knew it was good, but I didn't hear about it everywhere. Nonetheless, I had high hopes. So the first game I went to play was Xenoblade 2. This had come out on the Switch, and I had a friend, Nick, if you're watching this, my friend Nick, he was hyping it up for a while, saying Xenoblade was his favorite game. So I was like, okay, you know what? What about 2? I'm like, he tells me that number 2 has no correlation to number 1, meaning that even though they might have I shouldn't say no correlation, even though they might have a few secrets together, like they're completely different games. So he's like, you can play 2 without playing 1. So I go out and I buy Xenoblade 2 on my first day, on the first day it's out. I don't get around to playing it much, which is something that happens to me with a lot of single-player games. I buy them, I don't play them. I bought Last of Us a week ago, still haven't touched it, because you have other things to play, and you get caught up in those multiplayer games that you're always grinding. But I eventually tore my ACL, May of 2018, I want to say, or maybe 2017, one of those years, and I ended up playing Xenoblade because I was stuck in bed, and the Switch was the only system I could reach. Beat Xenoblade 2, and I loved it. So, long story short, that game was one of my favorite Switch games ever. Probably my favorite Switch game ever. Probably one of my favorite Nintendo games ever. So, Xenoblade 2 wowed me. So, it took me a little while to get myself to play it, but I did, and I loved it. So then, skip to now, I buy Xenoblade 1. I'm very well aware that a lot of Xenoblade fans prefer number 1 over number 2. So in this video, I'm also going to be doing a comparison, especially since I have no bias on it. I might have more of a bias towards 2, if anything, but I have no bias towards 1 like most people do. Most people feel too attached to 1 when they're doing this comparison because they played 1 first. They grew up with 1, they played 1 first. That's how things usually are. So going into my review, right from the jump, Xenoblade really pulls you in. Okay, the Minato becomes a thing right off the jump. We see Dunban with it, and he's obviously not the rightful owner, and we could see that right from the jump. He can't wield it. His arm gets screwed up, and it's never the same throughout the whole game. He becomes a fighter again, but that one arm is always very limp and almost unmovable for him. So that was very cool. We also see the connection between Fiora and Shulk very early. And we see that they looked friendly, but we knew there was something romantic there when she was making the food, and his opinion was so important to her, whether it was good or not. You could just see it. And then with Ryan, you could see that goofy attitude, and it was really awesome, like right from the jump. Going into the Tephra Cave, we started to learn more. We learned, I think it was called the Tephra Cave, the first one. We learned about how Shulk can see visions. That's when the visions first appeared, was I think when Ryan was with this big spider and Ryan was like about to die. And yeah, the visions were really cool. I really liked them. The story as a whole is very good. Okay, so there was very little filler, and Xenoblade I consider basically an anime almost. Had almost no filler, which is amazing. It was like 30 hours of just playing the pure game. When I was playing my playthrough, if you guys go back to those videos, the only part that I was really, really not feeling was the McConus field. It kind of felt like I was just doing push-button tasks, like going from point A to point B over and over. It was like a 2-hour playthrough of McConus field for like almost no reason. That was like the only real big chunk of filler I felt in the game. I didn't love Colony 6. Charlotte kind of fell through into the story, kind of just shoved in there, but she ended up growing on me a little bit. The whole save Juju thing again was like kind of typical. That's what always happens to little kids in games. I can't complain because every game does it, so that is what it is. It's not my favorite that, of course, the little kid gets captured, we got to save him, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah. But overall, with the face mechin, I loved the idea of the people that they knew being turned into mech, and it really drove an entire point for the story. Seeing Fiora might have been predictable, but you know what? It was still hit hard. Especially since she wasn't herself right away. We were able to really grasp like the full effect of her actually being a mechin. Like she wasn't there. She Maineth knew that Fiora wanted to help Shulk, so they helped Shulk, but Fiora was not there. Mumkar wasn't really predictable till like halfway through, at least for me. One of my biggest complaints about the game, though, with the story, Dixon, the whole foreshadowing with him when we're walking through, I think it's the Toro Marsh, right before we get there, him saying, damn, I really wish I didn't have to do this to these kids. Like, once he put on that foreshadow, we knew Dixon was up to something for the entire game. And there was almost no reason for it because after that, Dixon was doing nothing fishy. So if they never said that, we wouldn't have suspected any of that until the very end when he shot freaking Shulk in the back. No point of that foreshadow whatsoever. It ruined something that could have been so shocking. It could have been one of the biggest surprises in gaming, but that little tiny foreshadow gave it completely away. I can like I said, I could get why they did it, but I just don't know. At the same time, I don't know why. They could have had so much more surprise and awe, and it's not like they were trying to build something up. One thing I noticed about Alvis when I was done playing and I went back to watch Xenoblade 2 is that he's in Aegis, which is really cool. And you can notice that correlation to 2, and I like those subtle correlations. So I went over the pros. I love the story. I love how Shulk was able to overcome the bad stuff, and even though Zanja had controlled him, he really didn't. Shulk made himself his own person with Ryan and Dunban. I really liked Dunban as a character. I really liked Ryan as a character. I really liked Fiora. Ricky was all right. I mean, Ricky, once again, was like not that big, but at the same time, he was goofy. He was fun. Xenoblade 2 had somebody similar with Tora, so it's like not a big deal. I'm not going to complain about him. Charla felt like she got through in there, but you know what? At the end of the day, she also became pretty good. She grew with us. My biggest complaint character-wise is Melia. She felt really good in the beginning when she came in, and then they phased her out. And I understand she had this crush on Shulk, and she couldn't explore it because of Fiora, but we could have seen a little more development. I liked at the end we got a little bit with Fiora and Melia becoming friends, but we could have got more. She was phased out for like a good, I want to say like 8 hours of the game, like almost no dialogue from Melia, and that was just abnormal because there was so much dialogue from her in the beginning when she first entered. I really liked Callian as a character, very good. Another one is that Lorithia was too obvious. Like, I know she's meant to be evil, but they could have kept all this stuff a surprise. Like in most animes and stuff, they don't tell you this stuff immediately. Some of the biggest betrayals in anime, you never see them coming. I mean, we can go to Naruto and bring up Sasuke, and like Sasuke felt like he turned evil in the blink of an eye. It wasn't over time. Naruto wasn't like stunned. It was like that, you know? So that's like my only things. The combat, tolerable. Okay, it was good. I played on casual mode. I started on regular mode. I switched to casual because the combat became a grind. And I understand this is what JRPGs are. I did not feel that way as much when I was playing 2. I felt more engaged in the combat. I felt like I was having more fun with the combat. It is what it is, though. It's the combat. You know, they're not meant for that, really. It's like the exploration and the grind and the story. It's only like a little factor. I found out when I finished the game how those team attacks work. It's something called like tremble or something that makes you go a second time. Like, it's like luck based. I don't like that. Like, why can't you explain that to me a little better as to why we're going a second time in a team attack? And I hate how no matter how skillful you could be with your moves, like if your level's not there, you're not beating them. So you just got to go and waste time to grind. That's why I switched to casual for my Let's Play, because I'm not going to want to grind when I have to put out a video every single day. It's difficult. It's like another 2 hours just to gain like 4 levels. Nonetheless, I'm only putting these complaints because I'm a real fan, okay? I love the games. Xenoblade 1, for me, with Zanza at the end, was a very good ending. I loved how we saw a correlation to 2 with the spaceship, with Zanza getting too greedy, and he screws everything up. The architect as well. And we find out that they are the same person, which is incredible. I didn't realize it until I went to rewatch 2, which I went to do last night. 13 hours, might I mention. Nonetheless, overall, if I were to rate the game, it'd be as close to a 10 as possible. I mean, the combat brings it down, and some story miscues bring it down. But if I had to say, it'd probably be like a 9.5. Now, this is a very good score for a game like this. This genre is very appealing to me, so somebody else's review might be lower. But I don't know what else you could want. You're literally playing through an anime, and you're getting like pretty solid combat along with it, and you're getting really attached to these characters, and that's why this franchise is sustaining and is in Smash and stuff, is because people love this. So overall, that's probably what I would give Xenoblade 1 is a 9.5. The Definitive Edition added some nice stuff. Casual mode was really good, especially for me as a content creator. I really enjoyed the casual mode. It gave me an ability to play it without stressing myself out and really enjoying the game for what it was, rather than forcing myself to grind and suffer through gameplay that I might not love. Now, in comparison to Xenoblade 2, as I said, I played Xenoblade 2 first. As I said, I'm well aware that people prefer Xenoblade 1 over Xenoblade 2. Now, I will say these things about Xenoblade 2. The blades and the drivers, absolutely awesome. I think that aspect was way better than the Minato. I think the attachment that Rex was able to have to Pyra, and the attachment that anybody else was able to have with their driver, like Morag and Bridget, was really cool as well. I think that attachment and them being a weapon as well was awesome. The Minato was just a weapon of destruction, while these weapons, these blades, they were destruction, but they were attachment as well to their driver, which was really awesome. We saw a bond that was not able to be broken between Rex and Pyra. I saw a lot of correlation with Kingdom Hearts in these games. Fiora and Shulk kind of felt like Kairi and Sora, similar kind of game too, where the combat is but the story is amazing. It's a similar kind of game. If anybody here likes Xenoblade, they've never played Kingdom Hearts, play Kingdom Hearts. Same vice versa. You like Kingdom Hearts, play Xenoblade. It's a very similar game, and they both will very much please you. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts is characters from Disney that are already sustained, but you'll cling on to these characters from Xenoblade, I promise. Anyways, to continue, I really liked Rex like almost as much as Shulk, if not more. But Pyra, I would take over Fiora any day. I feel like the thing about Pyra, that she had so much power, yet she was so loving to Shulk and so loving to the rest of the party, and really cared about the sake of the world, was awesome. And it made it feel like she was a person, even though she was really the strongest blade. And then we saw Mithra as well, which was her second self, and it worked well. They collided on things, but they also came together on things, and they were very strong. Malos too, we could see that Malos was similar to Eggle in the fact that Malos was driven by evil, even though Malos at the end realized that maybe if he had a different driver, maybe if things had been different, it would have been a different path. Same with Eggle, with Zanza influencing everything. He didn't have to be evil. He didn't have to kill a bunch of Homs, but he did it because he was angry and he wanted revenge. Similar. Personally, the thing that really took Xenoblade 2 over the edge for me and made it a great game, and I know people have the complaints, is I never felt bored for a second in Xenoblade 2. There were deaths, there were sacrifices, way more than Xenoblade 1. I mean, we had Gadol die. That was like the one big sacrifice in Xenoblade 1. I mean, if I could think of another one, but like even Fiora, she didn't end up dying. She was okay. I mean, Xenoblade 2, we lost what's his name? The big guy with the bird blade. Never mind. You guys know who I'm talking about. The big guy with the bird blade. I think it starts with a Van Damme. Van Damme. He stabs himself. He sacrifices. What an amazing scene. That sacrifice is probably one of the most amazing scenes. Um, and then obviously at the end we lose Mithra and Pyra. They sacrifice themselves for the sake of the world. It's like a major sacrifice, and we were with her the whole game. I mean, Xenoblade 1, they sacrificed Egil, which is fine. We had no attachment to Egil because we knew him as an evil character. Combat, I thought that the combat in Xenoblade 2 might have been easier. I don't know if that's a better thing. Like I said, both combats are not that great. If I had to give an edge to the combat, it'd probably be the Xeno 1, but I like the combinations of the blades better in Xenoblade 2, so it's almost neutral. I'd probably give the edge to 1, though. I don't see how any Xenoblade 1 fans could be mad about Xenoblade 2. Let me say that. Coming from the second game first, but people complain about sequels all the time. Okay, sequels usually are really bad. Kingdom Hearts 2 was a good example of a good sequel, but it still wasn't as good as 1, right? And then you got a bunch of different sequels. Look at Last of Us, horrible sequel. I mean, people are, I haven't played it, but people are talking about it like it ruined the franchise. And I think that with movies, with games, sequels are never a guarantee. They ruin series a lot. And you guys should be grateful as Xenoblade fans to receive something as great as 2. I mean, I understand that people have their complaints, but you got to be grateful for 2 because at the end of the day, they were both such fantastic games. I would rate them both around the same. Me personally, I would give Xenoblade 2 probably a 9.6, while Xenoblade 1 gets a 9.5. And that's simply because I like the blades better. And that's probably the only thing edging it over. Jin was an awesome freaking character. Like, literally awesome. I just felt like we were more attached and developed to the characters in Xeno 2 versus Xeno 1 felt all about Shulk. You know, like Fiora was cool, but she was gone for a while. Ryan was cool, but then the rest felt like a little distant. But with Poppy and with Mithra and Pyra, and then with Van Damme and all these guys, it felt a lot closer, a lot tighter knit. And with Jin, and then Nia being a blade the whole time, like that was awesome. And Shulk was, I mean, Rex was so close with Nia. And we felt more, I felt like we developed the characters better in Xeno 2 versus Xeno 1. Nonetheless, the final boss in Xeno 1 was cooler, okay? We had to face Zanza, while in Xeno 2 we faced Ion, which was just a big robot, basically, that Malus was controlling, and we defeat Malus. It was cool, but I felt like the whole boss fight in the final of Xeno 1 was a little more epic. As far as the connection, I like the little subtle connections. I like how we see Zenza in both. It's very awesome. I like how the games intertwine a little bit. If you play both, you can see things in both, whether you start from 2 or start from 1. It's really cool. I really hope they make a third game and they continue with this trend to make another new character, make another new system, do it all again one more time, and let's connect it for a third time, make a nice little trilogy. But yeah, overall, guys, I definitely loved both games. I recommend them to anyone. Xenoblade 2 deserves more of a shot, especially from you Xenoblade 1 fans that criticize it. Go play it again. Go into it with an empty mind, because I promise you it's not much worse. If you think it's worse at all, it's not much worse than 1. And some people say it's a lot worse. There's a lot good about that game. It's just as long, it's just as grindy, it's awesome. So yeah. Let me know your guys' thoughts. How do you feel about 2? How do you feel about 1? Do you feel like my opinions were good? Did I miss anything? If I did, let me know in the comments. This is my first really in-depth review and comparison, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought about this a lot, and I went and rewatched all of 2 last night so that I can try and format my opinion a little better. So yeah, definitely let me know. And if you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Check out the Xenoblade playthrough if you're new here. I would love that. I put a lot of work into it. And definitely share this with your friends. Let me know what you think. All right. Have a good one, guys. As always, Nutrius signing out.